Good morning, Facebook land. This is Mike George coming at you live on this wonderful, refreshing Tuesday morning. What are we at now? I think the 9th of December. Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. The 10th of December on 2024 AD in the non-Oprah universe. Still the same old universe that we've grown to love and accept. And, yes, I'm coming at you, but nonetheless, I'm coming at you live on this beautiful morning from just off campus area of The Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio, in good old USA. Hi. And this is yours truly, Mike George. And and my goodness, look at this wonderful little day that greets us here. Hard to believe that just a little over a week ago, I had to suffer one of the most miserable walks of shame I've ever had to endure at around 3 a.m. Wednesday night / Thursday early morning, facing like -5 temperatures and, crucially of all, 35 mile per hour winds at -5. Not fun at all. Not fun at all. I was not a happy camper. And crucially, not only that, but it was that evening that my trusty backpack had decided to completely disintegrate. And man, nothing like having all your shit fall apart and onto the floor on a -5 evening, and while you're basically surviving 35 mile per hour winds, and I might add, not in my full winter attire. In fact, I was lucky I even had leggings on that night, for goodness sake. So nonetheless, in the absence of a trustworthy backpack, it's moments like that when good old Wanda comes to the rescue. So in lieu of that backpack, I've had to sort of have Wanda step in and kind of pick up the slack, so to speak. And it's easy to lately, Wanda's been down. At least the speakers of Wanda have been inoperative, out of service, / busted as fuck, thanks to cumulative fuck-ups from yours truly. But, what can I say? Practice makes perfect, and sometimes practice requires a little bit of collateral damage. So, and now that we're, I guess, reminiscing on kind of the fuck-ups throughout those practices, I will sort of take this moment to highlight the particular song in which I'm pretty sure 80% of Wanda's damage had been sort of incurred, which was on goodness gracious, what is this song? I'm blanking out on now, of course. Pink Floyd. That's what it was. It was Pink Floyd. My goodness, I'm 38 years old, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for some whatever, and 38 years old, and also a stoner for at least like 17 of those years. Gosh, that's kind of sobering to think about, to consider. So I've been a big old stoner for at least almost 18 years of my adult life, but somehow have only now discovered the wonderful world of Pink Floyd. Specifically the song Comfortably Numb. And man, tell you what, there's a couple guitar solos within that song, a couple guitar sort of breaks that I just lost it in terms of just elation and just my heart just melts when I hear those guitar solos. There's 2 guitar solos in the middle of that song, and man, poor Wanda here had to suffer some of the collateral damage of me to politely put it, attempting some pretty over-ambitious and overzealous stunts here with poor old Wanda here. So might I say that Wanda suffered some collateral damage and perhaps maybe some abuse as a result of me just completely losing it in those fucking solos. And I do not feel at all bad about it. It was worth it. Sorry, Wanda. Really shouldn't treat Wanda like that, but like I said, that song I just completely fell in love with. And hell, for some of you guys who've known me long enough, notably those that have been in marching band with me, I remember how similarly overzealous I sometimes got on that trumpet. Well, you can only imagine perhaps some of the gymnastics and some of the stunts that that yours truly attempted with dear old Wanda here, and why therefore she's in pretty, questionable shape. That having been said, though, she is serving her secondary purpose, which is carrying about, I'll say about 60 pounds worth of my shit. The same 60 pound, the shit that my backpack wasn't able to endure, which then frees my hands to be with you guys and with this marvelous little blueberries and cream pastry. One of my favorite little sweet treats to start the morning with, courtesy of the St. Sophia Greek Orthodox Church, which is one of my sort of kind of secret little breakfast gems as far as free food around Columbus is concerned. My goodness. I feel like I'm always kind of, half these broadcasts, I sort of go into the cliche of just gushing about how marvelous and beautiful the weather is, and I'm going to do that, and you're damn right, I'm going to do the same thing here, despite this little bit of rain and wetness that we have here. So let me put down this delicious blueberry pastry for a second and just show y'all a little glimpse of good old High Street here on this gray but nonetheless wonderful morning here. Now, perhaps some of you guys who haven't been in Columbus in a while might not recognize the place, but I'm standing here on 9th and High, and let's be fair, I think this sort of southern campus gateway facility has been here quite a while. It was probably I would say one of the first sort of, I guess, developments that heralded the age of IKEA land taking over Columbus. There's all these like vaguely European-looking geometric and kind of, some might say gaudy architecture, that we have. But hey, I'm embracing it. This is the future after all. And so sometimes, living in the future, we have to accept some of the, some of the so-called modern and so-called minimalist architectural styles that have kind of been seen to dominate our beautiful city of Columbus here. All right, and, along with one of my, keep using the word beloved, but goddamn it, Popeyes definitely deserves that term. Good old Popeyes. Some of you guys from the last broadcast might remember that I made an entire trek home, about an hour-long trek from campus all the way to Old Town East, completely forgetting about a Popeyes order. Tragically, I might add, forgetting about quite a large Popeyes order that I had, and I never did I'll be honest, I never did really reclaim my Popeyes. Reclaimed my time, but haven't reclaimed my Popeyes yet. And I'm actually kind of curious what happens to deliveries when you order shit on the app and then fail to pick it up. I guess I'll have to test the waters of that with the fine folks of Popeyes at some point. I feel like those Popeyes gals know me, though. I feel maybe, if I play my cards right with the Popeyes folks, I think I could reclaim my Popeyes. I think that's a reasonable ask, especially given how much money I goddamn spend there. Rightfully so, I might add, deservingly so. And man, I swear to God, I've never been to this Popeyes and not seen like a line there. So hell, if I guess worst comes, if worst comes to worst, and I don't get my $12 of Popeyes, somehow magically, comped or whatever. I'll just kind of rest assured knowing, kind of hoping that somebody got to enjoy that $12 order of Popeyes, if not me. Hopefully either a worker there or else. I mean, I would just hate to think of a $12 order of Popeyes just getting tossed down the trash can. No, that's not a realistic thing. That can't be. No. All right, digressing. On the spirit of staying on topic, because I know I can sometimes be notorious for drifting off topic, especially if you put a big old bowl of marijuana in front of me. I'm gonna actually do us one solid here and recall some of the previous topics that I brought up on previous broadcasts. One that I never really got to. Well, here there's a couple loose dangling threads here. All right, and in the spirit of audience participation from our 0 viewers presently watching. Our 0 viewers presently watching, except for Tim Baker and Sparkle Rye Guy. Hi. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not 0 viewers. That's 0 stars. Nobody. I wonder if anybody's ever sent me some stars. God damn it! I think a star is worth like 10 cents in real money. So I would have to earn some abysmally large sum of stars in order to, net $1 or so. And given how stingy you guys have been so far, probably not going to happen. In fact, I'm gonna try to consider for a moment, just for shits and giggles, how many stars would it take me to recoup that Popeye's chicken? If we do some math here, $12 time, divided by how many stars per dollar? I don't know what the current exchange rate of stars are to USD, or to Bitcoin to USD, or to whatever the hell these bullshit online currencies are to USD, but all I care about is the USD. So we can skip right to the USD, and no, I do not mean, well, some of the alternative definitions of the USD. I've had some tea, and I do have to. I always try to be thankful for when the Lord blesses me with some of that. Can't really tell anymore whether it's been more difficult to land me some D or some USD. But who's counting, right? Except for Mama Chase and a pile of declined debit cards henceforth. Alright, so goddamn, I'm realizing now whenever I do these Facebook Lives, I kind of just tend to wander. I feel like completely forgetting what the fuck I'm doing. So in the spirit of not getting hit or forgetting another $12 order of Popeyes that I just kind of wandered past, I'm gonna try the impossible feat of staying both on topic and on track physically as far as my day here is concerned. So yes, I was doing something. I was walking to the other breakfast, which I don't think I'm gonna make it to. That's okay. I've had plenty to eat so far this morning. Tell you what, I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful or kind of jinx myself, but I think I've mentioned this before on earlier broadcasts, how incredibly generous I find the city of Columbus when it comes to like free food and free shit to from the various churches and community organizations around town. Like, it could just be that I know Columbus more than some of the other cities I've been to, but I don't think it can be stated enough how truly just generous this city is. Not just generous, because there's always good intentions, but not just generous, but just the organizational aspect of it. I mean, that's one thing I really, as time goes on and as I spend more time here in Columbus for the reprise of my time here in this fine city. My God, I'm starting to fail at trying to hold all the things. Alright, I really shouldn't be doing... I gotta make some hard choices here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Am I gonna eat my delicious blueberry pastry, walk in a straight line without getting hit, or somehow just drop all of the spinning tables at once, including you guys, which I don't intend on doing because this is a decently new phone that I really need to not have be fucked up. So I think I'm gonna do... fuck me. I may negotiate this in a non-clumsy... I fucked this all up. You know what? I'm gonna take this moment and just put you down for a second, Facebook. Nope, can't do that there. Oh. This is what we call in the biz a cacophony of fuck-ups. In my, I think I'm gonna make a little bit of a chart and just kind of come up with a rating system for fuck-ups. In my, I think you guys have heard me mention, debacles before. You have a debacle, and then you have the next level up, which is a shebacle, which is thankfully sort of the highest level of fuck-up that I've had to endure in my life. But then you kind of go downward from debacle down to what I coin a cacophony of fuck-ups. So, I don't know why, but that term just has a little bit of a jingle to it that I like. A cacophony of fuck-ups. And, for some of you guys who might not be familiar with the term cacophony, a cacophony is essentially an ensemble of instruments, or let's say an ensemble of voices or whatnot that are in complete disarray. Kind of like an elementary school marching band, an elementary school marching band of only clarinets. That would be sort of the physical metaphor that I would use to kind of describe what I'd coin a cacophony of fuck-ups. And then of course you move right on down the scale to just a plain old fuck-up, and you can kind of see how the scale is starting to fill in. So, anyways, I am going to take this moment here to somehow, without a fuck-up, see if I can... There we go. Oh my god. There we go. Then you have a calamity. Forgot to mention calamity. Of course, that word exists already, so can't claim... I don't get to take credit for that one. Alright, I am gonna, sit down for a moment and not be this cacophony of fuck-ups that I probably look like at the moment, of trying to negotiate all the things at once. Oh, this is a perfect time to actually stop right here in front of one of our fine Columbus Metropolitan Library locations, the North Side branch. My goodness. Let's see if I can actually do this here. Alright. There we go. That was... Alright. Wanda's down. Wanda's down and down as in landed. There we go. Free hands. Hi. Mike George here again. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But if you can't, then hopefully you can at least hear the fine orchestra that the folks at the Columbus Metropolitan Library have provided for our listening pleasure this morning. In fact, let me kind of give a gander here of this library location. The North Side branch of the Columbus Metropolitan Library. This is one of the relatively new... Actually, I can't say that because, hell, for whatever reason, the library has been quite aggressive with sort of building out brand new branches and stuff. So props to the Columbus Library because they are growing, they are expanding, and they're adorning us with fine architecture like this. But hell, they always play this orchestra music out here, and I love it. And I'd always heard that places like this sort of play this type of music in order to ward off some of the unhoused folks that would otherwise kind of loiter around here. But hell, I love this shit. I love classical music. So I don't understand. I mean, if that is a thing, I'm really curious as to the logic behind the assumption that classical music is supposed to somehow like ward off homeless folks. I don't understand that logic. It sort of implies that unhoused folks have poor taste in music, which, well, it seems kind of arbitrary, if not downright incorrect. So, what can you say? But here are. Anyways, back to a topic. I did promise you guys that I would go to a topic, even one of the topics that I had bravely brought up last time and kind of left dangling out there. But I was talking about sci-fi, I remember in the last broadcast, and sort of how I find interesting how the genre of sci-fi has evolved kind of in tandem with our real future, and how it seems like sci-fi from my childhood seemed a lot more optimistic, and nowadays it feels like the sci-fi of our time has a bit more, what can I say, how should I put this, a cacophony of fuck-ups. And I mean that specifically in the sense of like humanity sort of splintering apart and sort of fracturing into little gangs, and and that kind of, I think, goes in lockstep with sort of what we see today, with sort of like this divergence away from unity and kind of to this, kind of into this age of sort of tribalism, kind of the tribalism sort of direction that our society has taken, as opposed to the to the good old days of globalization that I think lasted through the 90s. So one of the and I think the reason I even brought up this whole sci-fi topic to begin with, because one sort of, I guess, trend that I noticed in a lot of sci-fi and even a lot of comic books these days is the concept of the multiverse. That concept seemed to be really in vogue, I'd say, a few years ago, particularly when you had the two films. Let me try to remember now. You had Doctor Strange. You had the whole Doctor Strange film. And I swear to God, if that film did not come out at the same exact time as, oh shit, what was the other one now? Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. I hope I'm not just speaking into the void. Once again, nobody's talking on this thing. Nobody's commenting, so I either have a really boring as fuck audience right now, or the sound's not working, and I'm just wasting my time right now, just talking to myself and playing schizophrenia today. So, anyways, there we go. Got a little bit of quiet now. All the loud shit going on now for a second. Oh, there's that music. I love it. God damn, they got some good speakers out here, I must say. Kind of makes me feel a little bit better about poor Wanda being down for the count. But, yeah, sci-fi. So, the multiverse theory. So, I have to say, like, when people ask me if I believe if I actually believe in the subject of the multiverse, if I actually sort of buy into, the possibility of us living just one of many, of a sort of an infinitesimal number of parallel universes, I have to say I don't really buy it. What I think is more likely, I guess I find the multiverse concept to be more of a convenient writing, kind of a convenient writing, I guess, tool, if you're of a sci-fi writer. Either to, one, cover up a major whole plot that, that has occurred in perhaps a series of a series that they've written. This idea that you can sort of have a hole in your plot and then just magically kind of detour around it by saying, hey guys, just kidding, that was just a parallel universe this whole time. That to me seems like the more likely sort of, I guess, genesis of where this concept of the multiverse comes from. And, and one thing I also kind of, I guess, sort of I guess another opinion I have about the concept of the multiverse is that I feel like whoever invented the concept of parallel universes, and here's me playing Mr. Psychologist for a second, I find that the idea is born from a sense of loss, you know? And I say that in a sense that, like, I can only imagine whatever sci-fi writer first invented the concept of the multiverse, in my opinion, must have been somebody enduring some sort of major loss in your life. Because, you know, you always kind of get that feeling when you, or even just a major mistake, you know, when, you know, mourning some major fuck up, or some major, like, loss in their life. Because there's always that feeling, you know, that those two words, those two just dreadful words that you just say to yourself when one of those things happens. What if? What if? Or if only I had blank. You know, if only I had done this differently. If only I had done this differently. So it just seems to me that the concept of the multiverse is more likely to be a sort of a writer's tool, and or, I guess in a way, a sort of a coping mechanism for a sci-fi writer than it is reality, you know. And I think sometimes I try to remind myself that we kind of get, you know, and I'm guilty of this myself, we sort of have a habit, I think, of overcomplicating the world, of sort of over-romanticizing the world around us. And one thing that I try to always remember, you know, to do, you know, is to remember that, you know, the real world, God, if you will, is random as fuck. You know, the world is random. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we as humans struggle with the most, is randomness. Everything's got to have a reason. Everything's got to have a purpose. The one thing you always hear when something really awful happens to you is this. You know, that there must have been some reason. That there must have been some reason that some major fuck up occurred. And that's not always the case. And honestly, this is something that I've struggled with even myself. You know, being on the streets and everything, you know, and kind of, I guess, sort of living life on the streets, kind of through that lens that somehow at the end of the day, at the end of this however many months or years of anguish that I put myself through, that it'll have been all for a reason. You know? No, not everything has a reason. Sometimes you just suffer and die, and that's all there is to it, you know? Sometimes in the great scheme, in the great sort of, you know, whatever of the universe, sometimes the universe could give a fuck about you and your fuck-ups. And it just moves on. And in a way, there's something nice about that, I guess, you know? If you're able to sort of zoom out of your individual tragedy or your individual sort of bubble, I guess, and sort of see that. Because, I mean, and I guess I kind of, you know, I guess that's kind of how I've sort of, you know, the sort of mindset that I've adopted for myself in a way, in order to kind of make sense or not make sense of everything that's kind of been happening in my life. So, you know, sometimes nature and God, if you will, sometimes they don't give a fuck about you and your reasons and your adversity. Sometimes the world just moves on, whether or not you get over your shit or don't. The world's gonna move on, you know. And sometimes the world is not just the setting for your own little heroic, you know, for your own little heroic epic through the bullshit of it all. Sometimes we're just another bug that may or may not get squashed by some uncaring human or whatnots. And sometimes we just die without meaning. And that's probably the biggest thing that I think is probably difficult to, like, accept. That sort of possibility that we might live a whole lifetime on Earth, and the Earth could get, and, you know, perhaps the Earth isn't impacted by our shenanigans. And hell, that's a hard pill for a narcissist like me to swallow sometimes. Hell, you sort of grow up sort of dreaming that that you'll make an impact on this world, and we are. I shouldn't be so nihilistic about this. I'm just reminding myself of one of the other sort of themes I've talked about, which is, not focusing so much on the big dumpster fire, but rather embracing the 99 little joys that don't make the news. All the 99 little joys that just happen around you, many of which, by the way, go completely unnoticed and undiscovered, kind of to the point I'm saying before. So you can say, you can look at that. You can look at sort of the uncaring randomness of nature or God, and you can choose to sort of look at that as an awful thing, as sort of the notion that whatever I do on this planet in my life doesn't matter. Or you can kind of flip that on its head and say, hey, at least everybody else's fuck ups around me aren't affecting mine fuck up. Kind of just as usual, just depends on how you look at it. Our first comment. Andrew, darling, thank you so much for demonstrating some life to me. Tim, Sporkle, and Maggie, I still have yet to be convinced that you guys aren't just bots trolling my Facebook, looking for something for HR to scoop on me to get me fired from my next job. But nonetheless, Andrew, I'm convinced still that you're a real person, I think, or if not, a very convincing version of. But let me read your comment. The world is impacting by our shenanigans, cause and effect. Yes, causality. Indeed, causality. And actually, there is actually kind of a neat. It's actually kind of saved on my YouTube watch later list. It's actually an MIT lecture on a whole lecture about causality, cause and effect. That I perhaps am causing something now that will create an effect later for somebody else, or even maybe for me again. So I guess that's the kind of the sort of the finding that place, that sweet spot between causality and just pure randomness, and sort of being able to live with the notion that perhaps we're not as important as we think we are. And that can be said about humanity too. I think back to one of my favorite comedians, George Carlin, from my favorite bit of his about saving the planet. And he has this notion of, and it's part of a wider topic, but he kind of goes on to, he kind of sort of mentioned a notion of perhaps that's humanity's only reason for existing in the first place was plastic. Despite all of the grandiose and romantic kind of the romance of sort of how important we think we are. No, we're just another failed mutation, another pesky invasive species that thought that it outsmarted Mother Nature or God. But no, we're perhaps, in that sense, no better than the insects. In fact, I would say that the insects have gotten much better than us at, as far as sort of the ability to sort of collectively take collective action, I guess, if you will. You never see ants sort of rebelling and staying home from school and posting on TikTok about how everything's bullshit and how they're right and everybody else is wrong, right? I don't really see that in insects so much. You don't really see that type of, I guess, what do I call it, rebellion or at least just even non-compliance. Doesn't seem to be that way with insects. It seems like they're a lot better at us at sort of behaving as a sort of a cohesive swarm or a cohesive unit among many, perhaps millions of individual entities, units, if you will. And even just the concept of swarms, as a sort of a general topic, I just find fascinating. I mean, you're seeing you're even seeing robots and sort of, you're even seeing sort of the field of robotics and automation and AI sort of trying to mimic how swarms of bees and swarms of insects behave, acting as sort of one of, just kind of, pardon the cliche, but kind of the sum of, where you have the sum of the, the sum being the greater than the whole. God damn it, the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. There we go. Ugh. I'm obviously approaching coffee time, and or weed time, and or me not trailing off into a tangential, wandering cloud of consciousness. But I like that we both said stream of consciousness. I think nearly the same time, because I swear to God I read your comment right as I was saying the word. I think I said cloud of consciousness. So I like a stream of consciousness better. Sounds a little bit more on point. I'm sorry, what?
No, I mean,
They're not. You want to be on camera?
No.
Obama's not watching. Don't worry.
I don't play camera.
That's cool. What did you ask him? Sorry.
No, that's what pen. I ain't give with numbers now.
I got a pen. Actually.
I got my head, you know what I mean?
Just don't steal it. I'm anal retentive.
Camera.
Oh, no, that's facing me.
Okay.
It's facing me, I promise. Yeah, let me, shit, I'm sorry. It's hard to, I only have too many brain cells. 1 second, sir. My God, yeah, here we go. You want any of this? Okay. It's actually really fucking good. I'm kind of amazed I didn't spill it on myself yet. Alright. Yeah, 1 second here. Let me dig it out here. How's your day going? Day going well?
I think I've got them already.
Oh shit, here. I didn't mean to. Here. Hope you like green.
I love it.
You need paper? I got paper if you need to. Here, I got paper. Here, how? Here, take this. You need something to write on? Yeah, just keep that. Alright, anyways. Facebook Live, I think that's my cue to get the fuck off of here and be a productive, God-fearing member of society on this fine Tuesday morning. I'll end this broadcast. Thanks, man.
Sorry about the interruption.
Oh, you're good. This is bullshit. This is all improvised anyways.
Man, it's something to get into something. Anything, you know what I mean? You never know. So small, get the people.
Oh yeah, that's half the fun. If it's just me the whole time, that's boring as fuck. Yeah, that's the point, is to have other people.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a nice day. Watch the roads. Watch the slick roads. But yeah, one more look around here at the fine city of Columbus. I think we're just at High and Euclid, which is located between we'll say around High and 9th-ish area, right by the North Side Branch Library here. So, anyways, I did sort of manage to finish one topic, which is the topic of sci-fi, specifically kind of drifting into the subtopic of the multiverse, and how I think it's a entirely contrived topic from a bunch of grieving authors, rather than a real thing. And yes, I know quantum theory and blah 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 blah, but we'll see. I don't know that quantum physics necessarily implies the existence of parallel universes, but we shall, I guess maybe perhaps there's a parallel universe out there somewhere in which I'm correct. And on that note, Facebook Live, it's been real. Happy Tuesday. Bon mardi. And take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Tout à l'heure.